Dai 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 ya dai dai ya dai 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 hai dai 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 ya dai dai ya dai 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 dai
So again, I want to thank those who facilitated the davening in the chapel, Cantor Art Schrag, and David Estrin, our Torah readers, and Gabaim there as well. Shana Tova. ChatGPT, tell a joke appropriate for Yom Kippur about humans and computers. Answer. The oldest computer can be traced back to Adam and Eve. It was an apple, but with extremely limited memory, just one byte, and then everything crashed. Okay, not bad. I get the kind of Yom Kippur reference there. How about trying again, though? Answer. If you think that your computer, laptop, and phone spying on you is scary, then think again. Your vacuum cleaner has been gathering dirt on you for years. Okay, that's better. Today, computers are part of our everyday lives. They're sophisticated in ways that are both exciting and frightening. From education to entertainment, nuclear fusion to caregiving, there's hardly an area of life that will not be transformed by AI. Imagine AI-enabled virtual classrooms that create an engaging, immersive experience tailored to each student. Imagine a robot helping address the loneliness of old age and monitoring the health of seniors in their homes. Imagine a world economy boosted by $15 trillion. Imagine entire movies being generated in minutes, which means that we could spend even longer scrolling through Netflix and still not find a thing to watch. And on and on and on. In the words of Sam Altman, who founded OpenAI, the future can be so good that it's hard for us even to imagine, except for those who predict the destruction of humanity. Such is the worry of Max Tegmark, MIT physics professor and founder of the Future Life Institute. He explains, one day, AI may become as good as humans at intellectual tasks, capable of learning on its own, which some now predict is just a few years away. Once this happens, the technology will be able to continuously improve itself, surpassing our own power to think and act. If these systems develop priorities that don't align with our own, they could destroy humanity. If fasting hadn't yet started to make you hungry, this vision could easily ruin your appetite. The impact of AI on every area of life is staggering. It holds great potential and great peril. On this Yom Kippur, I want to explore the implications for us as human beings. The development of AI poses existential questions. What does it even mean to be human? Does the advent of AI signal the end of our privileged moral status? To be fair, these questions are prompted not only by technology, but also by advances in the natural sciences. Today, scientists have revealed what author Ed Young calls our immense world. And it turns out that other creatures besides human beings have a remarkable capacity to sense and to shape the world around us. Plants, even fungi, can solve complex problems and communicate over their own networks. And humans are not the only creatures that can reason. It makes you kind of wonder, are we really that unique? Are we really, as the Torah suggests, the pinnacle of creation? Later this afternoon, we'll study a tshuva, response to a question of Jewish law, on whether a robot can count in a minyan. Yes, even thousands of years ago, the rabbis debated this question. You can probably guess the answer, but the question gets to the core of the issue that I'm raising this afternoon. In the words of the tshuva's author, Rabbi Danny Evans, now is the time to draw distinctions before the exuberance over AI causes us to forget the essence of our humanity and the basis of our identity as Jews. As machine learning generates even more realistic texts, pictures, songs, and other approximations of human creativity, he says, becomes even more important to mark the difference. And so on this day of self-denial, when we are profoundly aware of our bodies, on this day filled with prayer, when our spirits soar, on this day of Yizkor, when we will confront our own mortality, on this day when we make an accounting of our successes and failures, we ask the most basic question that humans have been asking since consciousness was planted within us. Ma anu, mechayenu. What are we? And what is this life that has been given to us? Now, admittedly, my family would tell you that I am the last person who should be giving a sermon about advances in technology. As I like to say, I only had kids because I needed someone to show me how to work the remote control. So let me clarify. This is not a sermon about computers, but about what makes humans human. And that is a question about which our Jewish tradition has something important to say. But before I share my perspective, I pose this question to ChatGPT. Define the difference between humans and computers. Do so through the lens of Jewish tradition in 75 words. And this is what it said. In Jewish tradition, humans are regarded as carriers of a divine spark, gifted with free will and moral responsibilities. This divine essence differentiates them from computers, which lack consciousness and moral agency. Jewish teachings emphasize community, compassion, and ethical choices rooted in human experience. Humans engage in acts of kindness, sacred study, and spiritual growth, seeking their unique purpose. Computers, conversely, operate solely on programmed instructions without personal beliefs or moral consciousness. This distinction highlights the importance of responsible and ethical technology use in alignment with Jewish values. Okay, I'm out of here. It's a good answer. Let me expand. First, to state the obvious, ChatGPT responds to questions that we pose. Humans are questioning creatures. That's especially true for Jews, as we often joke, who like to answer a question with another question. AI, you see, was born out of human curiosity, out of our desire and drive to question, to know, to improve. AI can answer our questions. What it can't do is ask those questions that give meaning to our lives. Like, what is the purpose of my existence? How should I best use this one life that I have been given? And it can't answer this question. Do you love me? Tevye, you're a fool. I know, but do you love me? Do I love you? That brings us to the next way that humans are different from computers. Humans have emotions. We love, hate, enjoy. We feel envy, guilt, pride, and awe. We get excited. We're anxious. We feel satisfied. Now, I know that there are other sentient creatures. You know when your dog is happy. But we humans have the ability to control our emotions and to transcend our very nature. Like right now, when I really want a drink of water, but of my own free will and volition, I am refraining. Here's where emotions matter. Today, robots are serving meals at restaurants, but they will never be able to drop off a Shiva meal and give a hug and say, "I'm sorry for your loss," and mean it. Today, a robot could lift a couple celebrating a wedding in chairs and even sing Simon Tov and Mazel Tov, but it will never be able to embrace a couple and say, "My heart is full of joy," and mean it. An AI teddy bear can sing our children a lullaby, but it will never be able to give a kiss goodnight and say, "I love you," and mean it. So humans and computers differ regarding emotional intelligence. And then there is the very nature of our relationships. For computers, community does not compute. Humans, on the other hand, seek connections. Lo tov hayot adam levado, the Torah says it is not good for humans to be alone. But real relationships require two or more beings with their own sense of self. That is the core message of 20th century German Jewish philosopher Martin Buber. Buber taught that there are two kinds of relationships, I-it and I-thou. An I-it relationship is between me and an object. It is transactional. I utilize the object for my advantage. Sometimes we treat people as objects. But a healthier, holier relationship is an I-thou relationship, where I encounter the other in the fullness of their being and treat them as being created, B'Tselem Elohim, in God's image. AI can never be a thou. It will always be an object to serve us. As my classmate and colleague, Rabbi Michael Bernstein, said, the opposite of artificial intelligence is human relationship. We are at our most human when we make connections with others. What about the I in I-thou? Who am I? A story gives insight. Once there was a teenager who went to the Rabbi with a question. He asked, how come God didn't just create us all as angels? If God had, then we'd be perfect. We wouldn't make any mistakes. We wouldn't cause any problems. The Rabbi explained that God does not want or expect humans to be perfect. God wants us to be unique individuals who learn and grow from our experiences and our mistakes. Think of a picture, the Rebbe said. If you want to capture an exact replica of a person, you'd take out your phone and you'd snap a photo. A painted portrait, on the other hand, it's not a perfect reproduction. The color, the shape, the style, they might be inaccurate when it comes to capturing an external likeness. And yet, painted portraits sell for millions, far more than any photograph. Why? Because the painting offers insight not only to the subject, but also to the artist. Chaverim, we are like angels, are like photographs, but humans are like God's portraits. With all of our flaws and limitations, we reflect the divine artist. The Rebbe's teaching is provocative and incredibly liberating. The fact that God didn't intentionally make any of us angels suggests that to sin is uniquely human. You see, AI, like angels, can't make mistakes. They do exactly what they're programmed to do. For them, the category of right and wrong doesn't exist because they're not responsible for moral choices. But God doesn't want or expect any of us to be angels, and God does not want us to be robots. That's why God gave us free will. Doing so created the possibility, even the likeliness, that we will go astray. But only with free will Are our motivations genuine? Are we truly human? We're reminded of 18th century English poet Alexander Pope, who wrote, "To err is human, to forgive is divine." The point is not that we're tainted with original sin, rather that no one is perfect, and we're called upon to imitate God's mercy by forgiving those who have wronged us and asking forgiveness of those we have wronged. I'll leave it to the folks in Silicon Valley to figure out how to regulate AI to ensure that humans control the technology and are not controlled by it, to ensure that we control the off button. But what you and I can do is control how we live as humans in the world, the questions we ask, the justice we pursue, the kindness we show, the love we share, and yes, the mistakes that we make and the forgiveness that we offer. Being human will only become more important as AI becomes more powerful, says Po Shen Lo, Team USA's coach for the International Math Olympics. He's currently traveling the states teaching American kids how to outsmart AI in a lecture he calls How to Survive the ChatGPT Invasion. And his message is, be more human. He's urging the math-minded and everyone else to focus on creativity, emotion, the stuff that distinguishes us from machines that will never go obsolete. I would add, the soul. Think about what makes humans human, he says, and lean into it as hard as possible. As Yizkor approaches, our thoughts turn to loved ones we remember this day. Even as we recall the past, we envision a future. We imagine a time when we'll be able to interact with a CGI-created hologram of our loved ones who passed away. They'll look great in whatever age we program them. They'll be our daily companions. We can speak with them. We'll travel with them. We'll enjoy life with them. We'll laugh and we'll cry with them. We'll reminisce about the good times with them and delete the files about the not such days gone by. And we can even program them to fix their annoying habits that drove us crazy. It sounds great, doesn't it? There's only one thing. When they say, I love you, they won't really mean it. That's the difference between I, thou, and AI. Ma'anu, mechayim. What are we? What is our lives? According to the Talmud's sage Shmuel, these questions stand at the core of tonight's Ne'ilah service, the climax of this most holy day. The prayer continues by answering, you, God, have distinguished humans from the outset, that they might stand before you. Ata hivdalta enosh mirosh v'tikarehu la'amod lefanecha. So here we are, God, standing before you. As this New Year's dawns, we set an intention, a kavanah, to answer these fundamental questions in the way we live, day by day. May our curiosity propel us to great insights, benefiting humankind and the world around us. May we never treat people as objects, but see the spark of the divine in others. May our sorries never sound like Siri, but be genuine and honest. May the love we show and the love we know always be real. Ata hivdalta enosh mirosh, and may we live up to the humanity which you, God, have endowed us with, the soul and spirit that you have planted within us. In Omar, Amen. Thank you.